Well, it's great to see the gates are open, the restrictions have been removed, and you never know who you can bump into as a result. In fact, I'm turning back the hands of time a great deal here. My guest joining me now is Wayne Innes. Well, Wayne, great to catch up with you. There's been a lot of water passed under the bridge since we're in this position.
It certainly has, yeah, about 10 years, I'd say.
Well, Wayne, you've had certainly a celebrated career, mainly with the likes of Kevin Newman and Fran Donahue. How did you get started in harness racing?
Well, originally my uncle trained horses and he taught me the rudiments of the sport and I carried it on from there.
The association with Kevin Newman, a lot of times you were successful wearing those famous purple and white checks. How did that association come about, Wayne?
Well, I weren't stable too far from Kevin. He was at Blacktown and I was at Doonside and we used to see at the track every day when we were working our horses together, and that's how the association began. I certainly didn't walk into Harold Park with a colour bag and a whip and say, here I am, I want drives. It was quite a few years before I drove at Harold Park.
Wayne, it was always a great pleasure to watch the Hall of Famer, the legendary Kevin Newman, in the sulky. What made him so special? First as a trainer and then as a driver.
Well, he was one of the original fellas. He had a real lot of horses, and if he sent 10 out for a spell, 10 more would come in, you know. So he had a big team when people never had big teams.
And what was his main attribute, Wayne?
Well, he was a good conditioner of the horse, and he used to drive them real quiet at Harold Park, make one run from straight and down the back, and he'd let fly, and they'd round him up.
I know on many of occasions, I just enjoyed watching him in stand-start events. He just knew how to get a horse away.
Yes. He taught me a lot how to get stand and start horses away. And I used to drive a lot at Gosford and Wyong and places like that. They were all stand and start races, and then slowly but surely the mobile come into effect, and there was no great secret to getting out of the gate. If you had a fast one, you come out first.
I know it's a far different scene we have these days, Wayne, but stand-start races, do you still think there's a place for them?
Oh, in some cases, one of the greatest races in New Zealand is the stand and start, the New Zealand Cup, which was just on last week, so there is a place for them.
Well, apart from the association with Kevin, you also enjoyed a lot of success with Fran Donahue.
Yes, she was the leading trainer when I drove for her, drove for about 10 years, I'd say, and great association, great conditioner, used to swim them a lot, and heat work them. She'd work them a half mile, flat chat.
One horse you're associated with, Wayne, for the late Ian Thorne was Stroma, a wonderful, wonderful performer, and could have been even better.
Yes. Unfortunately, he jumped a shadow one day at Penrith and severed a tendon, not all the way through, but part way, and he sort of never gained the heights that I think he would have. He would have went right through to the Inter Dominion, that horse.
Speaking of the Inter Dominion, Wayne, we're just a couple of weeks away before we kick off the series once again. You drove it into Dominion heats and you had success with Deep Sky.
Yes, that was at Moonee Valley. I forget what year it was now, but Deep Sky, he was a very handy horse and a good leader. If he led, they took a real good horse to run him down.
Your last drive was at Harold Park, Brook Emma.
Brook Emma, yeah, for Wayne Dimmick. I think it runs second, I think. I got fined too. Couldn't believe it. My last drive and they fined me 200.
Wayne, you retired at the age of 61, 2010. Any regrets?
No, not one. Don't miss the 7 days a week, 4 or 5 nights. No, I don't miss it one bit. I miss the money.
I don't think you'd miss the money. I think you got that well and truly hidden away somewhere. Another horse that might bring back good, wonderful memories for you, Wayne, especially with cup races, Admiral Chimes. Yes,
he won 5 cups. He was a horse I trained myself. My wife and a few good owners owned it. Actually, the people that owned Stroma, they had shares in it as well.
Now, apart from the likes of Kevin Newman, who loved to tell a joke, every time you met Kevin, he first greet you with a joke. Another one that always does the same thing, and you're pretty much on the same lines. Dennis Wilson, a great mate of yours.
Yes, a great friend of mine, Dennis. Actually, he just walked past and he poking his tongue out at me while I was on the TV.
Well, Wayne, apart from being involved in harness racing, you're also a groundsman at Redfern Oval and also at Penrith Park, but you're a true blue bag going back to the Henson Park days.
That's correct, yeah. I followed the Newtown Blue Bags, and later they were called the Jets. I followed them all my life. I never had another team. When they got turfed out in 1983 or 4 it was, never had another team, and then I started following the Titans from the Gold Coast because I like their colours.
I thought you might have gravitated towards the Panthers.
Well, I could have. I was there. I was a one of the assistant greenkeepers at Penrith, and they're probably my second team.
Wayne, one of your great loves away from harness racing is fishing. You also get the caravan out and tour around Australia.
My word, yeah, I've got a camper van, a boat. I spend a lot of time away. I've got a daughter that lives at Yamba, which is one of the greatest places in Australia, and I spend a lot of time up there because I get free accommodation.
And Wayne, when your fishing stories relate to your driving, you always kept saying you should have won by 20 metres,
Right, yeah.
but your fishing tales are well renowned.
Well, it was only last week I got pinched on the way home. Copper pulled me over and he said I should have a red flag on that tail of that fish hanging out the back of my boat.
I hope Dennis didn't tell you that way. Wayne, it's great to catch up with you. As we've seen tonight, there's people back at the track, there's people smiling. Good times ahead now for harness racing.
Yes, my word. And it's a great place, Menangle. I enjoy coming here. It's good facilities for the trainers and drivers and the public as well.
We should also mention one of the reasons you are here, you've got a share in a horse major statement with Troy Williams, who's doing a wonderful job.
Yes, he's done a great job with the horse. He's won about half a dozen races and about 10 seconds and 10 thirds. So he's done a real good job with him.
Well, next time you go on one of those fishing expeditions, just put a few on the ice, put him in the esky, and you know where I am.
Yes, I will. I'll certainly think of you when I'm away fishing.